Hi, friends. Good night. How are you? If you're out there and you are wanting to talk some immigration with me tonight, log in. Join me tonight. I just wrapped up a wonderful, wonderful session with my Smart Immigration family. We had our Tuesday night live Q&A, and in this session tonight, I'm not going to be before you very long. I want to talk with you guys about the new USCIS bailout requests. USCIS, the agency, friends, that processes green card applications and other immigration benefit applications. They are seeking a bailout from our government. And so that's what I'm going to focus in tonight during this broadcast. So if you're on, just tell me that you are on. Give me some hearts and likes and let me know where you're watching me from. Nice to see you, Judy from Oklahoma. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Yasir. Thank you for watching from New York. Yeah, friends, you must be, you may have heard about this issue in the news. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to break it down for you as best as I can. And then I'm also going to talk with you about how this may impact you if you're going through the immigration process here in the U.S., or even if you're petitioning for a relative overseas, or if you're overseas and you're trying to get into America. The implications can be really it's intense. So I'm going to talk with you guys about my thoughts about this new bailout that USCIS is seeking and how it may impact you. Now, friends, real quickly, I actually filmed a video about this topic on Sunday. Okay, I filmed on Sunday this very issue, and I said and it was going to be published today, but instead I had another video that came out this morning, and I was going to send it out to you tomorrow. But then there was some important aspects about it that this thing is developing, and some important aspects about it that I didn't mention in my pre-recorded video. And so I said, let me do a live session tonight to talk with you guys about this USCIS bailout issue. So what I'm going to do, thank you. And I see that a number of you are watching. Thank you so much for watching. Marie, you're watching from Georgia. Nice to see you. Hi, Ren from Philippines. And Ayaz is watching from Pakistan, right? So friends, let's get into it. For those of you who are new to me, I'm immigration lawyer Latoya McBean Pompey, and I practice immigration law. Our office is here in New York. However, we work with people all over the world. And my contact information is in this video right above there. So feel free to reach out to my office if you want to get in touch with me. Okay, so let's get into it. So friends, CNN and other news sources are reporting about the bailout issue. Okay, the bailout issue that USCIS has just requested from the U.S. Congress. Okay, so here's the deal. Just a few days ago, the USCIS asked the Congress for $1.2 billion to help it to stay afloat at least through the summer, because it's going to experience a major budget shortfall. Why? Because applications have decreased, they're claiming. The number of applications that are filed with the agency have actually gone down, and now because of coronavirus and the coronavirus on top of all of the other policies that Trump put into place over the past couple of years, it's all coming to a head right now, and the agency is starting to feel it. Why would the agency feel it this way? Well, because the agency has largely been self-funded. This is a self-funded agency. It's funded primarily from your application filing fees, and so it relies on the filing fees to pay its staff, to have handle payroll, to handle operating expenses, and just to keep the agency running. And so when those application fees go down, their revenues go down. And so that's their major concern now, the fact that application filings have gone down in a big way. And now they're saying that they expect that applications will continue to decrease by 61% through September. And so if that is to happen, what's going to happen? How are they going to meet payroll? Right? So that's the argument that they're making to Congress. And they're asking for taxpayer dollars now, which is going to be controversial, right? Because again, USCIS, the mission is to process applications and petitions that are filed for immigration benefits. And so now they are actually going to Congress and asking Congress to bail them out using U.S. taxpayer dollars so that they could process applications and petitions without having to take drastic measures, they say. That's not my language, that's their language. Drastic measures. And I'm going to read some of their language to you shortly. So, friends, we have to ask ourselves the question, if they go to Congress and they say, Congress, give us $1.2 billion with a B so that we could get through the next few months without having to take major drastic actions to cut our staff and all of that. You have to ask yourself the question, well, how receptive is Congress going to be to something like this? And just so you guys know, this bailout was not part of the HEROES Act. That's a new stimulus package that just passed the House of Representatives on Friday. This was not part of that. This is separate. And so how receptive is Congress going to be to something like this? Most importantly, how receptive will the White House also be to something like this, considering that we know that the Trump administration's focus with immigration is on law enforcement activities. The money that Trump supports around immigration is money that goes into ICE operations, right? To have more law enforcement presence out there, money going into building detention centers, money going into building a wall along the southern border, money going into putting out more law enforcement officers at the border, right? Law enforcement activities is where they are investing money. So the question is, how receptive will they be to providing a bailout to an agency that is actually helping immigrants? Okay, they're helping, right? When you think about it, processing applications and petitions. So this is going to be an interesting one to follow. Now, the other issue is that how will it actually impact people who are going through the filing process? And I have two thoughts about that. The first thought is this. It has the potential to slow down case processing, because if you have fewer bodies at USCIS working on applications and petitions, it means it's going to be a slower process. And also, friends, when you have public charge in effect, which requires more evidence, more documents that these adjudicating officers will have to review, you're talking about a much longer or lengthier process. And so I think it's going to have a negative impact on case processing. Fewer eyes on the file, fewer bodies means a slower process. So that's one way that it will impact you. The second is with the application fees, because part of this proposal that USCIS has is that they would increase application fees by 10%. Okay, it's a 10% surcharge on application fees to reimburse taxpayers. That's how they're framing it, to reimburse taxpayers. So they're proposing to increase application fees by 10%. And guys, you know, application fees are already very high, very, very high. It's not a cheap process, right? It's not a cheap process to go through the immigration process in America. In some cases, it's thousands of dollars in filing fees. And so they're proposing to add a 10% increase in application fees. Now, Vox, VOX, not to be mistaken with Fox, FOX, but Vox did a really good write-up about this issue. And one of the things that they said in the article, they actually quoted the spokesperson for the agency, who was talking about why they are doing this. Why are they seeking this $1.2 billion bailout request from Congress? And so according to Vox, the spokesperson says that the coronavirus pandemic has already brought on a dramatic decrease in the agency's revenue that is only likely to worsen as applications are estimated to drop by about 61% through September. Okay. And furthermore, the article goes on to say that President Trump's restrictions on immigration, other countries' restrictions on travel, and the fact that necessary government offices aren't open to process applications have all led to the decline in application, and obviously the decline in applications and the decline in revenue. Okay, so the spokesperson goes on to say USCIS will have to take drastic actions to keep the agency afloat if they don't get congressional intervention. So basically what they're saying here is that if Congress doesn't act and give them this $1.2 billion bailout, they're going to have to take some dramatic steps to keep the agency afloat. So that's kind of a serious situation right now. Again, coming from an agency that is self-funded and an agency that, when we have government shutdowns and other economic crisis and things going on, USCIS is usually afloat. They stay afloat because they have their independent revenue source. They don't need the money from Congress to keep it afloat. But now they're saying we actually do because of the policies. Really, it's the policies that have been put in place that has resulted in this. And in my opinion, I think Trump is not going to be supportive of keeping this agency, afloat, so to speak. Obviously, immigration applications need to be processed, but in terms of injecting taxpayer dollars into USCIS, I don't think the president is going to support that idea. Now, it's a congressional issue because Congress controls the purse, but you guys know the president also has a say-so into also what goes on with respect to these measures. And so it's going to be, and also obviously, you guys know the House is controlled by Democrats and the Senate is controlled by Republicans. So I don't know where this is going to really go, whether they're going to get the taxpayer dollars to help fund USCIS operations. That is to come. But in summary, friends, this 1.2 bailout request has been made to Congress, and if the agency cuts back on its staff, it will impact case processing without a doubt. And secondly, they're proposing a 10% increase in application fees. So that's the latest. So stay tuned for more information about this issue. And I'm just kind of scrolling through here to see what your thoughts are about this issue. Okay, why? But Judy says why? Since they're getting less applications. They're saying that fewer people are applying for these immigration benefits, and therefore their revenues are declining. So they have this budget shortfall, and so they need more money to stay afloat right now and through the summer, which is really coming up. And then Caden says, this is causing stress and anxiety. I wonder if they will reopen the 4th of next month. So far, it seems like they are moving towards that. We haven't gotten any notice from them that they will not reopen on June 4th. That is still the last date that we've received. That's the date that they're shooting for. If they push that back, you guys will hear about that as well. And she says 5.2 billion bailout. It's actually 1.2 billion bailout. Okay. Let's see. And then again, why would it be slower? It will be slower because it's fewer bodies, fewer people who are going to be actually reviewing and approving the files, because when they talk about taking drastic measures, they're talking about layoffs. They're talking about cutting staff. Their operations will be impacted by this. So yeah, and Inca also got that. Yeah, it means longer processing time, which kind of sucks. But this is what's going on, friends. And I wanted to be sure to get this information in front of you, that USCIS bailout request is on the table on Capitol Hill. And also they are proposing a 10% increase in application filing fees. So when we get more information about or more details about these issues, I will be sure to keep you guys posted. Share this video with your feed. Subscribe to McBean Immigration TV, where I have been publishing videos almost daily to keep you guys in the loop about immigration and stimulus talks and other issues. You know that I'm keeping my eyes on all of this. And guys, contact my office if you need to talk about your immigration issue. Thanks so much for watching tonight, and I'm going to end the broadcast here, and you guys have a good one. Bye-bye.